All right. Welcome back to another Elevated Marketing podcast, where we try to simplify complicated digital marketing topics to help your business grow. Today, we are talking about why do you need marketing for your business? Word of mouth works just fine. We'll talk about that. But prior to that one, what is one work skill that you think everyone should have?
Hmm. This is a tough one.
I know, I have so many.
This is really tough. Um, okay. This is very tricky. One work skill that I think isn't always evident in a lot of people, but very important is being adaptable, especially in our field. Like, you really do have to be
Oh,
adaptable and ready for change. And
definitely in our field, it's constantly changing. Probably anything in tech, like, you
yeah,
gotta be adaptable, because it's changing a lot.
yeah.
I don't know, I think I'm just recently thinking of, like, the ability just to be nice no matter what.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
People suck.
Very much
Not
so.
that I can't deal with a mean person, but why should I?
Yeah.
I think more about that. So that kind of goes along with communication skills for me.
Mhm.
It communicating and over communicating and being clear and things like that. Like
Yeah.
just being true to who you are. Like I love all of that stuff. Like
Yeah.
keep it real, keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
All right. So, some people keep it pretty simple and they've grown a business from word of mouth and it's worked just fine for them. And that's okay.
Yeah.
There is actually a lot of small businesses and pretty small that are under, believe it or not, two, three people. And their own word of mouth is fine. But I might question like how you define word of mouth because word of mouth really is marketing, right?
Mhm. It is. Definitely is.
Either you're doing the talking or someone else is doing the talking about your product and service. So it's still marketing.
Mhm. Well, and I mean, if we're getting technical too, word of mouth can be as simple as a conversation, or it can be a testimonial on, like, Google My Business or something. Like,
Yep. Yep. That's marketing. And I think, you know, with word of mouth, you want to be able to control the conversation. And if you are just having the conversation one on one, you're not able to control the conversation as much as you can with digital marketing, where you
mhm.
can be out in front of a lot more people. And the other thing I think about, oh, go ahead.
Well, and I think along with that too, I mean, there comes a certain point where maybe credibility is questioned if it is just like a direct one-on-one conversation. You
Yeah.
could be the owner and completely biased of your product or service. They're not, I mean, they're yeah, I don't know. Credit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you should be marketing. I think you should be putting things out there, so that you can kind of control the situation and what people have to say. When you leave it open, then people maybe start guessing what you do and don't do, or they think this thing but not that thing. And there really are like a lot of little, different aspects. So communicating just makes your consumer that is either purchased or hasn't purchased yet better aware of what you do.
Yeah, and it also kind of helps you control the narrative in a sense too, because say, some word of mouth goes wrong, it's really hard to defend your brand if, you aren't doing any other marketing efforts.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. It it can also be slow.
Mhm.
So word of mouth can be very slow to kind of get out to new people that don't know who you are. And so when you're constantly out doing marketing, you're gonna expand your audience. So that's another way as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and I mean, just helping to grow your business in general, if especially if you have an online service, it's going to be tricky to reach further out of your location
Oh, well, an
to
online service only, I can't come up with any
yeah.
excuse for that,
Yeah.
unless you're a one-man show and you're just, maybe just trying to make enough for yourself, which
Mhm.
could be fine. That one would be hard for me to justify, but
Yeah.
having the website, though, the website itself is marketing.
Very true. Very true.
I'll just keep going back to that. Um, you know, people don't necessarily buy products, but they buy solutions to the problems. They buy for how it makes them feel. And marketing really provides that gateway to understanding why you have the solution. So, it's the words you use, the colors you use, the fonts that you use.
Mhm. Definitely. Yeah, keeping up with your brand image too is very important to keep that consistent.
Yep. Yep. What you expect in reality, though, might be different. So, like, we can talk about like your expectations that are someone that will see one post, one blog post, one ad, and that is going to, just that's my marketing. Um, Gotta have multiple times of seeing the same thing. That plays in as well.
Yeah, it's not often that someone is first introduced to you and they're ready to buy right off the bat.
Yes, if you're just doing word of mouth, then they might just get one interaction with you and or with your brand, even if that's just online. And I don't know what the offline statistics are. I know
Yeah.
online that 95% of people don't buy the first time they go to a website. So offline, I would have to imagine it's pretty similar.
Yeah, I would have to say so too. I mean, based on just my personal experience, do you know how many notes I have in my phone of all these random places that people have told me about, but I have yet to explore any of them? Like,
Yep, yep. We'll get there eventually, maybe when it's not such a hurry out, right?
right.
So, my point is just that you are marketing probably whether or not you feel like you are or not.
Mhm.
It's making an impression on people, whether or not you think it is or not. And, so it is working, I guess, if you don't wanna grow.
Yeah,
Um, you have to wanna grow, and there's this, business that comes in and comes out, so you do need to always be marketing.
for sure. Well, and I mean, even say business is booming and it's doing great. If you aren't marketing and you're only relying on word of mouth, I mean, that business could easily be turned off.
Yeah, you don't wanna have these ups and downs of, because sometimes depending on your sales cycle, you might have marketing today that you might not see the results until later, and so if you're doing this yo-yo of marketing and not marketing, you just need to be consistently marketing, all the time, always be looking at it. How much you market really depends on the size of your business.
Mhm. Well, and I think something else to consider too is like your competition. What are your competitors doing?
Yeah.
Are you at a disadvantage because you aren't putting more efforts into your marketing?
Yeah, if they're doing a lot of marketing, then they really control the market, and you're just kinda losing part of the share just because 'cause you're just not giving any effort at it. Yeah, I hear that too. Alright, what else do you think about?
Let's see. I think from like a data standpoint and an analytical standpoint, and it also relates to like growing your business. It's hard to measure word of mouth in most cases, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, if you don't have any data bringing like that's being brought in to tell a story, you aren't really going to know honestly how well your efforts are doing, or say if you have a service or a product, like,
Something is
yeah.
better than nothing. That's what my workout gal would tell me. You gotta get something in versus nothing at all. Alright, so, I mean, if you're doing word of mouth, it might just be fine, but if you're looking for some growth, then you've got to get into some marketing, so we appreciate you listening in. If you'd like to rate and review the podcast, that would certainly help, and, join our newsletter. We do, release those. I think we're getting ready to release one here soon, or probably by the time this show comes out, it's already released, but they're monthly. We've got it on LinkedIn or the website as well. All right. Take care.